Hey everybody. So about a couple months ago I shot a video of this old upgraded E-Machine's computer. It came out of a storage shed, been there for several years since it had been last used, and despite trying multiple different things to try to get it to run, just could not get it to run. Quite a few of you guys requested that I clean the thing out and try it again, see what I could get after I clean all the dust out of it, because it is quite filthy. Now, I have since taken out the CPU, the RAM, and the hard drive, but I can easily drop in another socket 754 processor and some RAM and see if it posts. But first, I've got to clean it out. So finally, I have an air compressor over here at the new place. Got this one for Christmas. It's a Bostitch 6-gallon pancake compressor. You know, like the ones they usually carry around that contractors usually carry around when they're doing work at other people's houses and such. It's definitely tailored for that. It has, as you see, 2 outputs on the side of it. So let's say you could have 2 people with nail guns or whatnot using it simultaneously. And of course it's portable, very lightweight actually. However, the only thing I do not like about this compressor is it takes a long time to charge up. So, let's go and get started here. Let's go ahead and power this thing up and let it fill up. So there you go, a little over 2 minutes it took to fill up. And just power it off for now, so that way we can have quiet when we go to clean this thing out. Okay, so this thing is very filthy, I must say, extremely filthy. Matter of fact, I might even set up on the porch railing. Then we have a little bit better view. So I need to get me a table out here. Yeah, that's much better there. Stand about this far back, and I imagine we'll probably need to refill this compressor before this thing is finished. So anyways, let's go and get started. Okay, time for another fill up. Thing is, this dust has been on there for so long, it is just like so caked up, it's not coming off easy. At least the power supply fan is not seized. Okay, I'm going to let this thing catch back up. Okay everybody, continuing this video series. You just watched the video clips of me blowing this thing out. So yeah, I haven't forgotten about you. The previous videos were shot back in, crap, was it December or January? It was sometime back then. Of course, those were shot with my older ZI6 camera, and you got to see my new air compressor. So yeah, it was late December, early January, that time period. But so I have not forgotten about you. This thing has been cleaned out, and we're going to see if this thing will post. As you may recall, if you watched the previous video, we got as far as getting the post screen up, but that was about it. The thing was just so unstable. It just freeze up. And just to give you an idea of the condition that it's in, the fan is seized up. I mean, it spins, but doesn't spin very well. It just needs some oil and it should be fine, but there's that. And this thing here is just, yeah, may as well say forget about it, because obviously these things do like to seize up. I plugged the power supply in. I didn't actually try to turn it on, but I plugged the power supply in, and the power supply didn't try to self-detonate or anything. I didn't think it would. Power supply is a pretty decent quality. It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst either. Since I shot the first video that you may have seen already, I pulled the CPU out of this thing and the RAM. So I have to go ahead and drop in another socket 754 processor and RAM, and we'll try to see if this thing will start up. Unfortunately, I've also wiped the hard drive and reused it since, so I don't have the original hard drive that was in here. But it is what it is. You guys really want to see this thing start up, so we'll give it another shot and see what we get with the thing. So yeah, now that I have a better camera, just take a close look at this decal here. Look what the weather, look what the storage conditions of this thing have subjected the front label to. Yeah, this particular case used to be the eMachines case that was my parents' computer before the Black Macs. So the case you're looking at is of the original eMachines that my dad had for many years, and then they both used up until 2008 when this was succeeded by the Black Macs. So yeah. This case, yeah, I've been familiar with it for quite some time. Now, the motherboard is not original to the case. This actually came out of a different eMachine system. This motherboard is kind of interesting in a way. It was from a basic eMachine system with an AMD Sempron socket 754 processor. But the board contains the VIA VT8237R South Bridge, which is a RAID controller South Bridge. Yeah, this motherboard has RAID. For a system that's from probably 2005, a budget system to have RAID is just not really common, at least I think. Now, we're talking, as I mentioned, we're talking 2005. We're not talking modern machines that, because I mean, a lot of basic end towers these days usually have RAID, but having RAID in an OEM system back then was just not very common, especially in a budget model. Okay, so let's go ahead and drop a processor into this and some RAM and see if we can get this thing to start. Okay, so I'm going to get the camera adjusted just a little bit here. Here we go. I'm going to start by grabbing some DDR RAM for this thing. Yeah, it takes DDR. Not DDR2. Not DDR3. And definitely not DDR4. And I shouldn't have looked too far to find some. Here we are. I'm going to throw in one of these 1 GB sticks. Actually, no, it is 512. Actually, hey guys, I got the RAM that came out of it. Right here. Still got dust on it because I didn't have it installed when I cleaned the machine. So, let me see if I can find a paintbrush. That would be mighty nice. Not going to really count on it, but something to kind of brush it off just a little bit. Now the system didn't behave any different when I swapped the RAM out for a different stick, so I don't think the RAM had anything wrong with it. It's just because the system showed the same behavior after I swapped the RAM out for no working RAM. So I'm going to brush this off right quick and we'll continue this. Okay, so it's not absolutely perfect, but I can say it's just cleaner than it was. Yeah, PC 2700 512 megabyte DDR. I'm going to pop this in there. There's actually still a little bit of dust in this thing. That's how horribly dirty this thing was. I think the home it was in was a smoking home. There were smokers. So this is just another testament of why you should put down your cigarettes. Trust me. I watched my grandmother suffer for years with COPD. It's not fun. And you can't say it won't happen to you because you don't know. So we're going to try this with the video card and stuff, but I also need to install a processor. I won't forget about that. We don't need Ethernet for this test. I'm going to go ahead and grab a socket 754 processor and heatsink. See what I have back here in my tray of processors. I tell you, it's funny how similar the new socket AM4 looks to the socket 754. You got the dead spot right there in the center, but obviously, I'll get you a better shot of that. But come on, camera. I know you can focus on that. There you go. But of course, socket AM4 has a whole lot more pins. This is an Athlon 64 3400 plus. Probably a Venice core, which should be perfectly compatible with this motherboard. Let's see if I have any coolers back here that still have some thermal paste on them. Because I'm just doing this just for testing purposes. Because I'm going to be pulling this right back off when we're done. So we still have some residual thermal compound on this cooler here. Now this is not normally the way I recommend doing this. I always recommend putting fresh thermal compound on your CPU heatsink. But just for this purpose, we'll be fine. The Venice core does not run hot to begin with anyway. Unless you overclock the mess out of it like I've done before. I used to have in the Black Max a single core Venice that I had I think about a 400 megahertz overclock on. And let me tell you, it got pretty warm. But then I happened to find a socket 939 X2 3800 plus. 2 gigahertz overclocked at 2.5 gigahertz. Pretty impressive overclock for a processor that came out of an HP computer. I still have that motherboard and CPU right here somewhere. I still have it actually. I could probably return it to service if I really wanted to, because it is, although it's quite dated, it's still capable. Okay, so we have our heatsink installed with just the basic thermal compound, enough for this test anyway. And as I mentioned, I'm going to try with this video card, and this time we're going to reuse the power supply that's in here. Last time I used an external power supply, but since we've cleaned this machine out, the power supply should be fine. Let's see if it starts. If I can fish out the 4-pin connector, that'd be great. So that's all else we need to get this thing running. Okay. Let's plug it in. We have power to the system. And it starts. Power supply is working. And we get post. See how much further we go with this. Now mind you, last time it froze up at this point. CMOS checksum error, default's loaded. It means the CMOS battery's dead. So what we will do is we'll change it out for a replacement. Let's go figure out where, okay, we're missing the CMOS battery. Okay, I must have pulled it out a while back. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in a battery. Pretty straightforward. I don't know if it's fully charged or not, but it's good enough for now. So I'll go ahead and try to start it back up again. And we'll go into the BIOS setup. So I'm going to go ahead and change out tripods right quick. Okay, it's going to try to start her up again. Let's see here. It's definitely using factory default settings. You see a funny Mini Tower Deluxe Black Max. That was a computer I built a while back. That was where the motherboard was installed before it got put into this E-Machines system. This is back. We're talking 2009, 2008. I mean, Byte Geek CCP days, before Cube Computer Channel became a thing. Yeah, we're talking a long time ago. So yeah, and you might be wondering, how did I manage to get a Cube Computer splash screen on this? Well, this is back from when BIOSes were pretty easy to mod, especially if they were Phoenix Award BIOS system BIOSes. The AMI BIOSes were a lot more difficult, and I was never successful at doing that. It essentially involved downloading the BIOS for a given motherboard off the motherboard manufacturer's website using CB-ROM. Yeah, CB as in boy, ROM. It's a command line utility to actually insert a 640 by I think 640 by 480 bitmap image, and it was quite interesting how it actually worked. So with that crappy thermal compound, yeah, you can see we're running a little warmer than we normally would. This CPU would probably run typically in the 30s Celsius right now, but with the crappy thermal compound, it's with that and the fans running at a slow speed, but the heatsink is not really all that warm. So obviously the thermal compound doesn't make a difference here. I'm going to disable smart fan control because that particular well, I'll leave it enabled for now at least. Go ahead and set the time, show you how old this BIOS is. Get this current date and time. Here we are. It's amazing. This thing works perfectly fine. So I guess I say I'm glad I tried to deal with this thing again. I wasn't totally interested in trying to get it back up and running at the time because obviously it's a pretty low-end system. It may run Windows 10, but with maximum 2 gigs of RAM, it's going to be kind of a struggle there. Ain't going to be the fastest machine out there, I could say that much. But it comes to show that if your computer is just doing all sorts of weird stuff, like freezing up and not wanting to post all the time, and you look and you pop the cover and it's as absolutely filthy as can be, clean it out. Simply put, clean it out. Now, as I mentioned, this computer came from a home I believe involved smokers. You may recall a video I posted earlier, or late last year, I think it was. It's a Gateway or Acer laptop, Gateway laptop. That was just, it came from a home of a heavy smoker. Motherboard would not post. It's safe to say that the tar and stuff in cigarette smoke interact with this dust, and it becomes conductive. It shorts out your motherboard essentially, and causes weird things to happen. So this is just continuing to the BioSep utility, real basic BioSep utility here. Here's the boot priority, all that good stuff. Integrated peripherals. Board has FireWire. Let's see, power management S3, that's right. Plug and play iOS installed, yes, that's cool. And a lot of times I see them default to they'll actually default to no. Again, so this is back into the PC health stats. You can see our CPU is running at almost 50C. So if I was to continue using this as a computer, I would, of course, redo that heatsink compound. Now let's figure out where. Oh, here we go. So you can see on chip SATA mode, we can set it to RAID if we want to. So let's set it to RAID just for the heck of it. See what kind of RAID BIOS we may have. AC97 audio gives you an idea of the age of this thing. No, it's not from 1997, but it's from before the time that HD audio really was all that common. So we're going to save and exit. Let's see what kind of RAID BIOS we have. So if you were to want to set up RAID on this thing, let's access the actual post screen. Okay, so that's the RAID BIOS. It looks sort of similar to the RAID BIOS that you would see from AMD RAID, actually. Where you have your create, delete options up here, and down here is where you would have all your other options here. What's cool about this motherboard is it offers 2 IDE channels. Well, so you can have 2 IDE devices on each IDE cable, and you also have your 2 SATAs. So theoretically, if you wanted to have 2 optical drives, 2 IDE hard drives in non-RAID, and 2 other hard drives in a RAID stripe or a RAID mirror, you could do it with this thing. So that's quite interesting. Now this motherboard, I believe, is just SATA 150. It's not even SATA 300. This gives you just an idea of the age of it. But yeah, it's pretty neat to actually see this thing up and running. I've never actually played around with the RAID BIOS on this, but obviously we can't do much without a hard drive installed. Yeah, so it's interesting to see this thing actually up and running. So it does prove a point, I think. Again, if your computer is not wanting to post or whatnot, or if it's just doing all sorts of weird behavior, clean it out. It may solve your problems. So, we have resurrected this computer from the dead. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Hey everybody. I sure hope you guys enjoyed this video from Q Computer Channel. Remember to like the video, subscribe to Q Computer Channel for more updates, and remember to tick the bell so that we actually get notified of these updates. Did you know that I am also on a second channel that's CubeComp MTDX? Over there you'll find videos of bicycling, weather, elevators, and all sorts of other neat and interesting stuff. Feel free to subscribe to that channel as well. And again, I thank you for your support, and thanks for watching this video.